Okay, let's look at percentages. What is a percentage? A percentage is a fractional part of a 100. And it is always denoted by the sign, the percentage sign. When we work with numbers, sometimes on our calculator, we don't use the percentage sign, but we need to convert them to a decimal. Unless if you know how to use your calculator, you can use the percentage sign. But if not, you need to convert your percentage, any value that has a percentage sign to it, convert it to a decimal. And to do that, we just divide the number by 100. So if we have, for example, 75%, we're going to take the number 75 and divide that by 100 so that we get 0.75, and we can use that number in our equation. Sometimes you will be asked to calculate the percentage of a number, and off in this instance will represent a multiplication. So it means you're going to take the percentage and multiply it with the number. By saying that, it means that percentage, remember, you're going to divide it first by 100 and then multiply it by a number. Let's look at an example of what I'm referring to. What is 25% of 108,000 rand? Means I have a percentage 25% and I need to multiply that with 108. And that will give me, if I convert my 25 and I divide that by 100, it will give me 0.25. And then I multiply that 0.25 by 180,000, and that will give me 45,000 rand. And that's how we use percentages. Let's look at more examples. 15% of students at the university are male. How many male students are there in total if we have 500 students at school? Now we have 15% as a percentage. We know that those are males. We want to know in real number how many males are there. So it means we need to calculate 15% of 500. And that will be 15% divided by 100, which will give you 0.015 multiplied by 500. So 15% we divide that by 100. So we'll take 15% and we divide by 100, and it will give us 0.15. And multiply that by 500, and it will give us 75 males. So 50% of those male makes up 75 male students. Another example, let's say we know that from the previous one we have a total of 500 students, but then the university expects an increase of 10% in the number of students next year, and we need to calculate how many more students do they expect in total. So there we need to calculate an increase. So we need to calculate what will be the new number of the total student body next year. It's a new increase. To do that, we need to know what was the previous number, and we need to know what will be the increase from the previous number. So it means we need to calculate the percentage of the previous number. So we're going to take the previous number, add to the percentage increase of the previous number. We know that there were 500 students, plus we need to calculate 10% we know it's the increase for next year. So 10%, 10 divided by 100 will give you 0.10. That's 10%. Multiply that with the 500, you get 10% of the 500. It will give you 50 rand. So 10% of this will give us 50. Not 50 rand. We're not talking about rent. It's going to give you 50. And we add the 50 to the 500, and we know that we have 550 students that are registering.